plus incroyable, c'est Vlog Day 1013. Pas de bonne chance, ça. Good morning and welcome to day 13 of the 20 and 20 today. 20 and 20 days spent visiting each of the 20 arrondissements in Paris one day at a time and making a video in each. Today I've got Pouchon and Laura with me and we're going to see the 13th, which doesn't have a lot going on. It is right next to the Jardin des Plantes, but we're gonna find some stuff. We're gonna find some good stuff because one of the recommendations I have in my guide is trustworthy chains, places that you can find all over the city if you're in desperation. And because I don't have a bakery that I know and love in the 13th, I looked up an Keizer, which is one of those trustworthy chains in my guide, and we're gonna go grab a croissant there to get started. Then we got a couple of fun spots we're gonna check out that are very non-touristy but very worth it, and we'll see what happens from there. Where are you guys going? But before we get officially started with the 13th, Pouchon's got to get the fly invader on the McDonald's next to Jardin des Plantes, and then croissant and coffee. That's the other thing. I don't have any good coffee shops that I know of in the 13th, so we're just gonna grab probably espresso at their Keizer or something similar, and it'll be fine. It'll contain caffeine. Have you had caffeine yet?
I've had some tea, yes.
She doesn't really need caffeine, but Pouchon's already had coffee too. I'm the only one. Ah.
Look at that smile.
When you find this ugly green building on the river, you basically want to go to the roof. If it's in the summer and you feel like having a drink, maybe dancing in the evening, the rooftop there, I think there's a Cafe Oz and something else that are up there. So a little bit overpriced, but definitely worth it for the view. And you know, you go there to dance. You don't go there to get cheap drinks. And what I didn't realize is that there's a fashion school in the downstairs. So I guess during the day you can go get an education. That's pretty great. As you can tell, the 13th is also modernizing. It has been for a long time. So it's got a lot of these very non-Haussmannian buildings. For those of you that are anti-modernization in Paris, this is probably not the neighborhood for you. But one of the cool modern-esque buildings that we're gonna go see right now, the National Library, Bibliotheque Nationale. But we're gonna go there hopefully after we get a croissant. Ooh. We finally found it. There's also a crepe, like an artisan crepe place next door. This feels very Seattle in this part, but the 13th isn't just downtown Seattle in its styling and its weather. It is also a competition with some of the more outrageous elements of Parisian art culture, and we'll see some good street art here in a minute. But first, croissant and coffee, please. I wish the coffee was in frame.
Oh, look at that.
I know.
Just steal it.
Yeah, do it, take it, yeah. This is definitely the most unique looking Keizer that I've ever been in, and the hugest. It's weird, huh?
Yeah, they're usually so dark, and now it's super light. It's like we're in London here.
I don't know if I like it, but I'm sure that everything else will be delicious. I got a quiche. That's my whole story. I will be right back. Now I feel better. We're making our way to the National Library next. It has started to rain a little bit, which is gonna have a mild effect on how things go today. We've been able to dodge the rain for the last 2 weeks. I guess it was gonna catch up to us eventually. The library itself is pretty cool, and I'm kind of hoping, I don't know if we can actually go inside today or not, to get a view from the top, but it is pretty schmancy. I'm gonna go check out some street art, and then we'll go to lunch. One of the things that I've been meaning to mention, I'm almost at 30,000 subscribers, which is really exciting, and to keep with tradition, at every new 10,000 mark, I've done a question and answer, a Q&A Q&A. So if you'd like to be a part of that Q&A, go follow me on Instagram. If you haven't followed me on Instagram yet, please do so right now. I'm gonna do the Q&A through my Instagram story. I'll put together some questions on the Instagram stories. The day that I think I'm gonna cross, or at least the day that I'm gonna do the Q&A, which is probably gonna be, we might have to save the Q&A for after the 20 and 20. So go follow me right now, and as soon as the 20 and 20 is over, I'll do the Q&A, and I'm gonna do it through Instagram. So if you wanna ask me any questions, that's the time and the place to do it. And then you get some pretty photos out of it along the way as well. I'm working on improving my photography game. It's going up. It's gonna be an Instagram account worth following. That's my promise to you, a chicken in every oven. Anywho, let's go check out the library, some street art. And then this neighborhood is famous for its Asian food. I went to the giant Asian market with Jean-Yves once, if you wanna see that video. We're not gonna go to the Asian market today, but we are gonna go eat some pho, because it is soupy weather today. What a bunch of nerds. For those of you Mission Impossible fans, this is where they enacted their plan in the new movie. This is where you'll recognize the columns from the motorcycles and the diversion. I guess you could say the diversion of the route happened here. I don't know if I should be careful of giving spoilers for that movie. It's been out for a long time now, but it's fun to have the little Mission Impossible references as we go. All right, now the library, right here. I didn't know they took bay leaves on the Titanic. La Bibliotheque Nationale, the National Library, is named after François Mitterrand, the president of France, who is famous for putting lots of stuff in place in Paris. But they consist of 4 giant books, right? These buildings are supposed to represent or look like books that are standing on the corners of this huge square. Pushanan said that we have to have a membership to go inside and all the way up. I was kind of hoping to go all the way up, but it doesn't sound like it's possible. The other hope that I had was to do some fun time lapses, but the cloudscape today is pretty flat. So we'll give it a try and see what we come up with. Still a really nice spot to come and sit. If you want to go down on the river near here, it's not so bad. You can sit out here in the sun on the steps, kind of watch the world go by. Not a touristy spot at all. Definitely takes a little bit of work to get here by comparison. It's been a pretty long walk, but it is really cool to come see if you've got a little time. I wouldn't put this in like my top 10 things to do if you're in Paris kind of a thing, but if you're here for a couple of weeks, definitely worth bouncing out to see. Okay, that was my favoriteest thing I think I may have ever done. Oh, that bridge is so great for the wheel. I just want to do that again and again for the rest of my life. Not only are there party boats down here, but there's a swimming pool boat. That's a big boat with a swimming pool and like a gym. There's a lot of modern life going on down here in the 13th. And check this out, a lighthouse party boat. Whoa. This is where Pushan spent a lot of time working on his thesis. We're done librarying and bridging. Obviously, you can go party on the river if you feel like it. You can come watch a movie at a movie theater here in the middle of the library, which is actually where I saw the first Hobbit movie before I realized that there was only the first Hobbit movie and not the only Hobbit movie, which was a big disappointment. Do you have something to say there, Chief?
About hobbits?
Oh no, I don't know. You just look like you had something to pitch in there.
Oh, I wrote my thesis here. There was no Wi-Fi.
There was no Wi-Fi?
No. That's how I actually got work done because I was...
That's gonna be the most like chopped up like. So we're gonna go grab some pho, warm up over some soup. Basically between the partying, studying, street art, which we actually didn't even go see the street art, so go up along line 6 here. I marked in my guide how to go and find good street art in this area, and I've actually shown it on a couple of other videos in the past. But that's basically the 13th in a nutshell. It's fairly modern, fairly residential, and then the Asian food scene is pretty strong here too, so I'm ready for lunch. Dr. House might be the single largest invader in the world. This thing is 3 stories tall. That's crazy. It's great. Anywho, if you go along line 6, north of the river, which we're gonna do for a little bit, you get some really big murals. The Space Invader is not the only one. There's a lot of really big street art on this. 100 points, yes. A lot of great street art along here, which we're gonna try and take advantage of. Wait.
something. They're quick, but they're not.
This is a smaller branch of that massive Asian market that I was telling you about that I went to with Jean-Yves. Definitely worth checking that out. That's also the first time I'd ever had an uncooked peanut, which was a life-changing experience. Didn't realize that was even a thing. Change of plans. Fuzz sounds good, and we'll introduce Laura to pho one of these days, but this Chinese place is one of Pushan's favorites, so let's do that. I don't know, it just sounds really delicious. And also there's a Mario invader next to it, which is a sign.
Yeah, all the classic, like,
Always a good idea to check the menu on the outside before you go in, which is a nice thing, because most restaurants in France will post the menu outside, so you don't have to commit to sitting down before you know what you might want to get, so.
And you're in luck, because we speak fluent Cantonese. So there's not a lot of veggie options, but we'll find some.
In the end, I wouldn't recommend that spot. There are a lot of really good Asian places around here, Vietnamese, Chinese. But the Vietnamese is probably what this area is most famous for, which is why we should have gone for the pho. Oh well, can't win them all. We'll get pho one of these days. Where did Pushan go? Sprinted across the street to get some pho for his mom, because he's a good son, and take that home to her. So that was the 13th today. It's a really big arrondissement. There's a lot more to see. Lots more modern buildings and street art and markets and all kinds of stuff. If you're gonna be staying in the 13th, it is a little bit far from the rest of the world, but you know, it's another part of Paris that's worth seeing at least once in your life, especially if you want to get that Dr. House Space Invader. Whew. So anyways, I'm gonna work on digesting whatever we just ate, and I will see you again bright and early tomorrow morning for a wander through the 14th arrondissement of Paris. See you tomorrow.